Now, if it was my money, again, I'd probably go Civic Type R, but if, let's say that's not an option, it's either this or the Type S. Believe it or not, I would go with this over the Type S. And the reason why, 2025 Acura Integra A-Spec with the 6-speed manual transmission and the tech package. MSRP for these is going right around $39,000. And big shout out to CardinaleWay Acura for the loaner. If you're in the Las Vegas area, you want an Acura or a Mazda, check them out, linked below. We're powered by a 1.5 liter inline-4 turbo engine, making 200 horsepower, 192 pound-feet of torque, with peak torque from 1,800 to 5,000 RPM. You can opt for either a 6-speed manual or a CVT. Thankfully, we have the 6-speed manual today. We've got strut front, multi-link rear with a helical front LSD, because this is a front engine, front wheel drive car. Same as in the Integra S, although the Integra S helical LSD is tuned differently in a more aggressive manner. You can think of this as the Civic SI's Acura brother. So a little bit more luxurious, same platform underneath, same engine underneath, but slightly larger exterior dimensions, slightly nicer interior materials. But it does come with a 200-pound weight penalty over the Civic Si, which of course is going to affect the driving dynamics. That's about 7% of the total weight. Civic Si is about 2,950 pounds. This one is about 3,150. But what you get in exchange for going with the Acura over the Si would be power memory seats, slightly better materials, heated steering wheel, heated seats, and in comfort, it's like an entry-level luxury car. You do have adaptive dampers here, which the Civic Si does not get, and they're also tuned far softer than the Civic Si. So Civic Si is going to be a little bit harsher, a little bit crashier over some of those bumps. Depends on what you're trying to optimize for. I want to show you guys the sticker here. So $39K, we got lunar silver with ebony interior, and then you got the tech package and the A-Spec as well. Getting into the interior, we have this interior that looks very similar to the Civic Si. That's no surprise. Heated seat button. We got very similar climate controls to the Civic. And the actual mesh here for the AC vents in the Civic Si is actually a slightly different pattern. It's not like these diamonds. It's instead like I think it's a hexagon shape. And it extends all the way to the end. And I actually appreciate it extending all the way. Here it said you have this plastic trim piece that breaks it up. We got the 6-speed manual transmission, and we do get drive modes in this top trim A-Spec. And I'm gonna go to individual here and customize. So steering is gonna be softest in comfort, and we're gonna have suspension in comfort as well. Gonna keep the engine and gauge in sport to start off. Ergonomics wise, I think Acura gets this dialed in most of their cars, both Acura and Honda. Ergonomics, super important. We obsess about it in the operating room. My mentors and such would always correct me if my posture wasn't right, and you really want to dial in your ergonomics because over time you get fatigued, you make errors. You want to have efficiency and precision with your movements, both when you're operating and also when you're driving a car, especially a performance vehicle. That little 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, it's feeling the extra 200 pounds, let's say that. You can of course go with the Type S, the top trim Integra, although there you won't get memory seats. You'll get power driver's seat and no power in the passenger seat, which I guess weight savings perhaps. That one is about 70 pounds heavier than this, but of course is the far more driver focused, hardcore enthusiast version of the Integra. And there you're not going to get this killer rev hang that you have here. Now the rev hang you don't actually notice as much when you're puttering around town. So let's say I'm around 2,500 RPM and then I upshift. You know, that's actually very natural. The rev hang there is not too bad at all. But emissions and whatever, you go to the higher revs, there we go. Now you go for an upshift. Keep waiting. There you go. I actually timed that so it was a smooth downshift. I wasn't really pulling the revs down, but you saw how long I had to wait. So what you're gonna notice is the revs get really yanked down when you're pushing the car harder. We're going to turn traction off here. Not fully off. We have to do the whole pedal dance in both this and the Type S to fully disable it. You know, steering is not completely numb, but man, does it make me miss the Hondas and Acuras of old that did have far better steering. We have electric power assist here, and there is some torque steer when you go on slower corners and really mash the throttle. You can really feel the weight transfer here, and as you trail brake into a corner, you can feel the rear wanting to start rotating just a little bit. Helical LSD does do a fantastic job of putting the power down and clawing for grip. Far more impressive in the Type S because of the level of power and torque. Now the Type S also has this dual axis front suspension with the McPherson strut that reduces torque steer, which you need when you're pushing out more than 300 horsepower, more than 300 pound-feet of torque to the front axle. But here at this lower power level, we also don't have that fancy, sophisticated dual-axis McPherson strut front suspension, and you're therefore getting a moderate amount of torque steer, especially on slower corners when you really mash it. The transmission feels pretty similar to the Type S as well. You have lighter throws. In terms of forward to back, it's a moderate throw, but then laterally it's very, very tight, which I haven't had any issues, but I anticipate that if someone were pushing this hard on track, it increases the risk of having a misshift. But it's relatively satisfying to use. Of course, cable linkage with the transversely mounted inline 4 front engine, of course, front wheel drive. I've heard some describe this as one of the best manual transmissions sub 50K. I would strongly disagree and say that the Mazda Miata with that direct mechanical linkage to the transmission directly below it, no cables, is a far superior manual transmission. By modern standards, 3150 is not terribly heavy, but again, it is a significant penalty over the SI. And when you only have 200 horsepower, it's also, you know, it doesn't make the car feel slow, but a little bit on the sluggish side. This is more a vehicle that you're not optimizing for bombing the canyons and taking a track. This is more a car that you're optimizing for daily driver duties because it is relatively comfortable. We're actually going to change this now into Sport and Sport. And you can feel that heft in the steering immediately build. Which I personally prefer. I like heavier steering racks. It just, especially when you're pushing it harder, it just gives you a little bit more of something to push against. Have that degree of precision that you want. But the suspension, when you go from comfort to sport, very small difference. You notice a much bigger difference in the Type S. But here it's like a 5% difference. The car still has a good amount of body roll. Still a very soft, supple, comfortable ride, which again is more optimized for daily driving, more so than bombing the canyons. Now in terms of competitors, you have the Mercedes CLA, you have the Audi A3, you have the BMW 228i, and I would also argue the Mazda 3. Now the Mazda 3 Turbo is automatic only, but you can get the Mazda 3 2.5S with a manual. Let's give you guys a pull. We're going uphill. Not the most exciting, right? Not the most characterful engine. A little bit buzzy, especially at higher RPMs. And by the way, you do get rev match in this car, but you have to go through the settings. It's not on this drive mode selector. It's in the vehicle settings and the infotainment, and you can manually disable it. I don't know why they don't put it here with the drive mode settings. But going back to the competitors, the nice thing is that compared to the German competitors, it is undercutting them on price, and it's also relatively light, but it feels like a step between something like a Honda and German luxury. It doesn't feel like it's fully German luxury, although I'd argue the suspension, the way it's tuned, feels more entry-level luxury. One thing that does bother me is how close the screen is to my face, which causes distortion, because if you're looking really sideways, right, versus if this was a little bit further back, there would be less distortion. And then the other thing is that when you are looking far away, the ciliary muscles in your eyes that control how, like, the shape and the flex of your lens, they're relaxed. That's why it's easier to see far, and then you look closer, your ciliary muscle needs to work harder to get that lens to accommodate for close vision. Now, what you want to do is actually minimize the level of accommodation as you look far, close, far, close. And with the way this is positioned, it just feels a little bit too close. Like, I can easily wrap my whole hand around the thing. It's that close to me. And while the driving position is good, I just feel like the screen position is not optimal. That's something that, as you get older, you notice more. I'm 34, and I don't really have many issues with accommodation yet, but I'm sure it will get worse as I age, and you know, that's just a small thing that you can easily optimize. You can have it a little bit, 1 or 2 inches further back. Eye accommodation occurs at a logarithmic exponential scale, so even just moving it a couple inches back is going to make things easier. I do like having a heads-up display. I was driving the Acura ADX recently, which does not have a heads-up display even on their highest trim, and that's essentially the Integra CUV-ified version, their entry-level SUV, if you will. And I'm glad that they have this here, because again, going back to things that we focus on in the operating room and optimizing for minimizing fatigue and improving focus, having the speed in your line of sight is optimal. You're not having to look down and accommodate and then look back up again. It's just right there, and it's nice and crisp and easy to read. The throws are satisfying. Slightly less mechanical than the Type S, ever so slightly. Actually did a back-to-back comparison of this versus the Type S, which you can find linked below. But definitely a nice manual transmission to use. Trying to get the tail out a little bit more there. We got a bit of, just a little bit. Yeah, as you trail brake, that's how you get the car to rotate. You're not doing that with throttle because, of course, it is front-wheel drive. You have to remember, though, a lot of people are overly focused on the Integras of the 90s in the sense that they think of the GSR and the Type R, right? And they forget about the base Integras from way back when. And when you think of it through that lens, then you actually see that, okay, this Integra is comfortable, it is practical, 4-door. They don't make a 2-door Integra like they did in the 90s. And I think for the modern era, it is giving the driving enthusiast something that is unique: a manual transmission, front-wheel drive, good build material, good ergonomics, apart from the screen that I don't like, competitive pricing, right? And for that, I respect it, and for that, I appreciate it. There is something, though, about those 90s Hondas. Yes, they have more NVH, they have a little bit more edge to them. And that's no longer the case. That is completely devoid in the current Civic Type R and Integra Type S. And the Civic Type R being $45K and this being $39, I would personally go Civic Type R, but I'm also optimizing more for a sports car, and I can compromise on the ride quality a bit. And the Type S being $53K, I believe, is, you're paying that Acura tax for the little bits of comfort and such. But the seats in the Type R are such money. Granted, you can't really get the Type R at MSRP. You're going to have markups. But I feel like a lot of the magic from those vehicles in the 90s is obviously lost here, right? You don't have that B16 naturally aspirated VTEC engine kicking up to, 8.5K RPM. Like, it's just, times have changed. We can't have those kinds of engines anymore, and Those cars were so lightweight, but crash regulations are keeping you safer today in modern vehicles. It's a trade-off, right? So you have to calibrate yourself accordingly, because this is not the same Integra from the 90s. If you look more at the base Integras from back then and you look at what Acura is as a brand and understand what they're trying to optimize for, then the vehicle makes more sense. But I don't want you guys to think that, you know, the A-Spec with the manual or even the Type S is going to be just like those 90s Hondas that we've all grown to love. Again, I'd probably go Civic Type R, but if, let's say that's not an option, it's either this or the Type S. Believe it or not, I would go with this over the Type S. And the reason why is I find that the Type S, to me, feels a little bit compromised. It is, okay, far more engaging, far more capable, doesn't have the annoying rev hang, ever so slightly more mechanical shifter, and there's a lot of things that it has going for it. But for an extra $14,000, at that price point, yes, it is very unique, manual transmission, 4 doors, you know, yada yada, but it still feels compromised. It feels compromised by the front wheel drive layout, and it is being more sporty, but I'm more aware of its compromise since it is trying to be something that I think has inherent limitations. When you go to the older 90s Hondas, those were just way lighter and high revving, naturally aspirated engine, and you didn't get torque steer because the power and torque was so much lower and the cars were so much lighter. Whereas with this, it's not trying to do those things. It's trying to be above all else a comfortable daily driver that has a bit of dynamic and fun to it, but it's still more a daily driver than something trying to be razor edge and a sports car. But my friends, let me know what you think of the 2025 Acura Integra A-Spec. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one.